Hey guys, welcome back. Today I have another super fast process video in my traveler's notebook. This is that same traveler's notebook I was using last time. It's one I've made myself, so it alternates with white paper and pattern paper. So today I have this lovely little craft with white cross background to work with. And I'm going to create my own separate pattern on the right hand side using both that same Mega Heart Eyes stamp set and also the Soul Sisters stamp set. Say that a few times quickly. So what I'm doing is I've grabbed a little square block and I'm picking out a few stamps from each of these sets, and I'm really just setting them out on the block. If you want to do a really quick repeat stamp sort of pattern, this is a really easy way to do it. The only thing is it does take a tiny bit of time to get everything sort of on your block in the first place. So this is why I use a square block like this, because it makes the actual repeat pattern really quick to stamp. It does just require a little bit of shuffling around to get everything onto the block. A couple of times you've seen me pick up the scissors and kind of trim the stamps. I'm not actually cutting the actual stamp part of the stamps. I'm just trimming off a little bit of that excess around the outside just to help things fit a little bit easier onto the block. It doesn't damage your stamps in any way to do this. Use a really sharp pair of scissors. Be really careful not to actually put the blade anywhere near the actual stamp impression part, and it can make things a little bit easier, especially when you're working on a small block like I am, to get everything on there nice and neat and tidy. So I've got all of my stamps stamped on there, and I just kind of want to test the ink that I had picked out. I've picked out a really light pink ink, and it looks super light here on camera, and that's because it's super light in real life too. I've chosen pink because I've got my little photo grid over there on the left hand side, and this page is sort of about how my dog Lily, she kind of plays with herself with this pig that she has. She pushes him off the couch and then jumps down and picks him back up and brings him up onto the top of the couch and then pushes him back off, and it just goes on and on and on and on. So one day I did actually manage to capture a kind of photo series of her doing that. She's not big on photos, so I've sneakily caught her doing that. I've made this little photo grid. It's otherwise a pretty neutral sort of photo apart from those little pops of pink. So I wanted to stamp in pink. And while I've been talking, I did go and grab a second pink ink to test out, and you can see on my sort of scrap paper behind there, it is a lot darker than my initial one, but I decided it was going to be too dark because I already have a pattern paper on this spread. I'm really trying to create a very, very subtle pattern on this right hand side, and I did not want that bright pink pattern to kind of take over anything. So in the end, I did go back to my very light pink. I think it's called Pink Lemonade, and I'm just repeat stamping. So you can see how easy this is. Because I've got pattern paper on the left hand side, all I did was, instead of stamping over the edge of my spine, I just pulled my block right up to the edge of it. I've got stamps all over the square block, so I can pull it right up to the edge. And I started with my first column, and then I slightly offset that block of stamps for my second column. So I lined up the bottom stamp with one of the other stamps I've already stamped. So I lined up "You Are My Fave" with "Love." Stamped out my second column, and then I have added just a very small amount of a third column, which I'm going to end up covering up anyway. But that's where I'm up to. That's where I did it. What I mean by covering it up is I've sort of done these two pages and I felt like they were very separate. They didn't tie together in any real kind of way. And so what I did was cut down a strip of that same pattern paper. I had these sort of offcuts from when I made the notebook. I've trimmed out just a little piece of it, and I actually took it over to my sewing machine and added a row of stitching on there just to give it a little something, just a bit of texture, just something to make it not just a piece of pattern paper stuck on there. And then I just stuck it on there. So it's a super simple way to get some stitching into your notebook if you don't want to kind of hand stitch, or you don't want to take your notebook over to your sewing machine. Stitch on the paper before you stick it in. It's a very simple hack for making it a kind of a really effective kind of texture in your notebook. Now I've adhered my photo down so that it covers up quite a lot of that stamping and that little piece of pattern paper, and then I'm going to add my title onto the left hand side. These alphas are from like forever ago, from Pink Fresh Studio, I think, and they are terrible. They're terrible. They don't stick very well. I have not used them, as you can see, basically at all. I think I've used them once for Project Life in all of that time. But for this project, they kind of worked out perfectly because it meant I can place down my title. I'm not worried about sticking to the pattern paper and having to pull it back up again. I'm just gonna really lightly stick it down, and I won't make you sit through me re-gluing all of these alphas, but that's what I do. After I finish this page and I've got everything in place, I can just go ahead and pull these alphas off because they pull off very easily. Add a little bit of scrapbook.com smart glue underneath them, and that just makes sure that they're going to stay nice and stuck down, not going to fall off at any point. So this is kind of acting as my journaling as well as my title, I guess. I'm spelling out, got to get that Piggy. As soon as we say the word Piggy, she's off. She goes and grabs that pig and starts throwing him off the couch. I kind of feel a bit bad for him. So that's my little title there. I haven't really done anything special for the title, except I've lined it up on the right hand edge. I love that I get 3 lines out of it. It's sort of a similar size to the photo, so it balances out the page really nicely. Having that two-tone look means that it does stand out off the paper, the background paper as well, so that was just an accidental kind of plus side there. And as far as like embellishment goes, and I'm using that term very loosely, I'm just going to use 3 other stamps, single stamps. I'm going to stamp them in black with the Pink Fresh Detail Black ink. One underneath the photo, one in between 2 of the lines of my title. Now that was another accidental luck out there. And one on top of the title, just to give me that sort of that visual triangle, that rule of 3 that I love so much. And then I'm going to call my page all done. These are just 2 of the awesome stamp sets available at Kellie Stamps right now. Do use the discount code that I have in the description box. Go and grab yourself 10% off your order right now. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.